Okay, you guys, so sometimes it's a little challenging to come up with an idea about something to cover that has not been covered to death on other videos or blogs, etc. So I think I found one. At least I've never seen anyone talk about this before. I'm going to talk about reselling blank media. Now, hold on. You might be thinking either this doesn't apply to you. You might also be thinking, what the heck is he talking about? It does apply to you. If you're sourcing in the secondhand market, this is stuff's probably right under your nose and you just never even noticed it, okay? So once I make you aware of this, by the end of this video, you're going to be seeing this stuff everywhere, and it always, and when I say always, like almost literally always has value. So what you're going to learn in this video basically translates to free money, okay? So this was inspired by this recent purchase. Nothing like groundbreaking or life-changing here, but I found this stack of sealed blank audio cassettes when I was out sourcing, and every single time I see sealed audio cassettes, I snatch them up. So we'll get back to these here in just a second, but what are we talking about with used media? So we're talking about basically two things: sealed cassette tapes, audio cassette tapes like these, and sealed VHS tapes. Now, of course, there's many other kinds of used blank media out there. There's like sealed, rewritable DVDs and CDs and I guess 8-tracks. I'm trying to think what else I'm missing here. Don't worry about those, okay? We're talking specifically about cassettes and VHS. And the reason these are so awesome, again, now that you've been made aware of this, and a lot of you are, by the way, I don't want to pretend like I'm breaking any new ground here, but those of you who are not aware of this, you're going to start seeing these everywhere, okay? If you're sourcing the secondhand market, you will see these. And you probably just, if you haven't been seeing them, you probably just tune them out, because I would say I find used media fairly consistently. Not everywhere, not even 1 out of 3 sources, but very, very consistently. So the reason that I feel so comfortable, and by the way, I bought these, literally, like, I didn't even look at the price. I didn't even care about the price. They're always going to be worth money. Again, assuming you're not being gouged, right? If you're paying $1 or $2, you're always going to make money. The reason these can be so lucrative is that there is a fixed, diminishing supply, but a fixed, if not increasing demand. So you might be sitting back thinking, who the heck buys cassette tapes? Who the heck buys VHS tapes? The answer is, I don't really know. I actually like cassette. You can see, you can't even see, but behind this camera here, I've got a whole, like, hundreds of cassettes in my personal collection. But people buy cassette tapes still, and blank ones are a value for whatever reason. It doesn't even matter why, they just are. And same with VHS. I don't know who's buying these. I don't know why they're buying them, but they are. And again, diminished supply. To finding sealed cassette tapes, right? I'm pretty confident these are no longer in production. When I say these, I mean literally cassette tapes from any company, anywhere. They maybe still be making them, but I'm not aware of that. And I'm pretty sure, I'm even more confident that VHS tapes are no longer in production. So that's, of course, the perfect recipe for value, right? You've got diminishing supply. People, they're not making more of these, and the sealed ones are only going down in supply, whereas the demand, for whatever reason, is fixed, if not increasing. There actually is kind of a resurgence of cassette tapes in recent years, of an interest in cassette tapes. So I'm even more confident when I see sealed cassettes than I am VHS, but I will buy both basically blind without even looking at the price. Now, it's not just about knowing these exist and knowing these are worth money. It's about getting the most value that you can from them. So I'm going to tell you how to do this. There's a trick that I think is really valuable. I'm just going to use these as a case study here. But this applies to almost all blank media that I found. There are usually multiple product pages for anything. Let's go into Amazon here. I'm going to show you an example of this right now. Okay, so what you're looking at here is the product page for this item. If you were to just scan it directly into Amazon via the UPC code on the back, or if you were to pull it up on like an app like Scoutly or a listing app or something like that. So you can see here, and actually let's go over to Scan Lister. I think it makes it a little bit easier to get a little visual as to what's going on. Okay, so you see there's a new offer for $15.60. It's FBA. Okay, cool. So let's look at the net profit for that. Net profit, $9.36. I paid $2 for this, so roughly a $7 net profit. Okay, so cool. But this doesn't tell the whole story, because if you actually search Amazon, there's a second page, which is this one right here. If you notice, it's truly identical. The exact same product, 2 different pages, both 2-packs, everything's the same. So what I like about this one, and let's go back to the first example so you see, and again, this is what all you're going to see if all you did was just scan the item, right? This is all you're ever going to see. You're never going to know there's anything more than this. Look at the sales rank history here in the Keep It chart. It stops around 2021. So this doesn't necessarily mean it's not selling. In fact, it definitely doesn't mean it's not selling. Amazon just stopped tracking it. They stopped displaying a sales rank for it, which happens for unknown reasons. Amazon will just do that with certain products, and we can confirm down here that, in fact, there is no sales rank published. Okay, so again, not that it's not selling, we just don't know. And that's a problem. Now let's go over to this other product page. Again, you search on Amazon, exact same thing, 2 product pages for the exact same item. And you can see here, the sales rank does get a little weird, and the Keep It chart doesn't seem to reflect reality, because if you go down here, there actually is a sales rank of 255. Now that's in the data cartridges category. I don't really know, how broad that category is. I don't really know how to translate a rank of 255 in the data cartridges category, right? Because it's just like nobody does. It's too niche of a category. So we don't really know what that means. We don't know how often it's selling. But I would say, any sales rank in the 3 digits in any category is probably a good indicator it's selling fairly consistently, despite the Keepa charts being a little bit weird. Now let's get a better visual of this inside ScanLister. Remember here, the first example we can sell for $15.60. We get about $7 net profit after my costs. And with this one, which you'll notice the sales rank in ScanLister is showing 0. And I don't think it's ScanLister's fault. I think it's Amazon's fault, but we know that's not true because on the product page, it's $255. Okay, so there's no FBA offers here. So we got 2 really positive things going on here. Number 1, no FBA competition. Number 2, we know this is selling, right? We don't know with the other one, but we know this is selling. So what would I list this for? I don't really know. I don't have a lot of conviction around how to price blank cassette tapes, right? I don't think any of us do. So I'd probably take a flyer on this and just price it at 25. And then, I can always decrease my price after a few months if it doesn't sell, which brings the profit to $7.35 minus my cost, roughly $15. Okay, so we just over doubled, assuming it sells at $25, more than doubled net profit. So again, we just doubled the net profit on these, and there's 5 of them. And that was just with one simple trick. And I want to disabuse you of this idea that somehow this is like a fringe scenario, like what I just showed you doesn't happen often. It happens a lot. I would say the majority, again, of blank media, cassettes, VHS tapes have multiple product pages. Okay, so, and then you can bundle them together. We didn't really talk about that, but it's entirely possible. I didn't even check, but it's entirely possible there is like a page for 10 of these cassettes, and maybe it's like $100. I don't know, $50 to $75 or something. So, and then there's a whole eBay situation, which we won't even talk about. But the prices tend to be much lower on eBay. So we're not even. I would recommend, you can always look, but usually not the best place unless you've got a ton of them and you want to just sell them as a lot. So what are we talking about? Cassette tapes, VHS tapes. You can safely ignore blank CDs, blank DVDs. Really not much of a market there. I mean, they might have value, but it's not like this because those are still in production. And I really do think if you keep your eyes open, you'll start seeing these very, very consistently. I think you'd be pretty surprised to see the value even of individual cassettes. Again, we have 2 packs here, but even just if you find individual sealed cassettes. Now, one more subject we can get into is selling blank media that is not sealed. In other words, you've got a VHS tape that someone just recorded like Superman 2 on, right, years ago, and you've got a bunch of these. Or cassette tapes that have a bunch of stuff dubbed on them, but they're not, they're obviously like not new. Now, I'll be honest, I actually have never looked into this on eBay with VHS tapes. However, I have with cassette tapes on eBay, and the one tip I will give you is, in fact, I didn't even look to see what type these are. So here's a little tip about cassette tape. With cassettes, there's type 1, type 2, and type 4. Now, there may be a 3 out there, but I personally never seen it. So I'm assuming it doesn't exist. Type 4 is extremely rare. If you can find a type 4 cassette, whether it's sealed or not, always buy those. And they're going to be heavier. They're going to be just really like kind of blinged out. Like they're going to look very cool. They're going to look very special. These are super high quality, like audiophile level cassette tapes. And I'm not going to say they're uncommon, but they're definitely not common. If you find a type 4 cassette, even an individual type 4 cassette that is opened with something on it, it still has significant value, okay? Always buy those. Type 1, opened, something on it. The demand is there. The value can be there, but not that much. Most people that are interested in cassette tapes are looking for type 2. The quality is significantly better than type 1. So if you have a bunch of type 2 cassettes that have anything recorded on them, if you have a large volume, in other words, you're not just selling like 1 or 2, but you have like a significant number of those have significant value on eBay. Okay, you can't sell them on Amazon because, I mean, there's no product page for like a just random used cassette. But a used type 2 cassette on eBay in quantity, and I haven't done a lot of this to be fair, so I don't want to position myself as an expert here, but I would say probably, maybe you want like a minimum of like 10. That's kind of just what I'm thinking off the top of my head. And you're going to see these often. This is not an uncommon thing. A lot of, in the secondhand market, thrift stores and things, they don't really like to put out a lot of like blank cassettes. So unfortunately, a lot of them just end up in the trash or God knows where. But if you can encounter them, buy up the type 2s. And they're not as common as type 1s, but they're still pretty common. So there's a couple tips there. Just to recap, multiple product pages for the sealed ones. You can sell type 2 cassettes or really any blank cassettes, even if they're opened on eBay. And that's it, you guys. I hope you make a lot of money with this. I'll see you in the next video.